Yeah, that's good. That's good. Thank you all. And good evening to those on YouTube.
On YouTube.
Well.
Hello, welcome.
Okay, right. I knew it. I knew it had to be
Formula One.
It had to be one of those. Huh?
Hi, Raina.
Just T-Mac, just when we thought we were getting your attention, I have something that stole your heart away.
Right. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Hi, Blessing.
Hi, Blessing. Hi.
Hello. Hi, YouTubers.
MK Restaurant. That must be either Okwe or Mimi. Who's that?
Hello. Hello. Hi, everyone.
Faith.
Hi, Faith. Good. Hi, if you're on YouTube, why don't you put a comment in?
Yeah.
So we know who.
Let's know who's on YouTube.
Who's there?
Okay. Okay.
Hello.
Hi, Bella.
Hi, Bella.
Right, we're just gonna wait for a few more people to join. We don't want anybody to miss out on the conversation tonight. So please bear with us.
Hello, those joining on YouTube.
Yeah, and those on YouTube, you can like, share. That would be great. And on Instagram as well.
Hello, hi everyone.
Hi.
Welcome. Hope you've enjoyed your week and your day. I know it rained a little bit, but hope you're enjoying the day.
Hey, Michelle.
Hello. Hi, Michelle. How are you?
Okay.
Hello. Hi. How are you?
Urola.
What is your picture? Is that flowers?
Michelle. Tolu, good evening.
The curry looked nice. T-Mac, I think you were giving him some inspiration, you know?
Yeah. You know what I'm going to try and do? I'm not committing myself to this, but what I'll try and do is every Wednesday now I'm going to try and see if I can make a different recipe.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so no commitment. So nobody should hold me to it. You know, so it's a challenge that I put on myself. So let's see.
Hi, Debbie. Hi, Debbie on YouTube. Hello.
Idris Elba. Well, no, Idris Elba looks like me. It has to be. I look like all these famous people, and I need to start seeing the money in my account. That's what I need to see.
So don't forget, you know, like if you're gonna do a new recipe, to buy the ingredients.
Well, okay. What I would do is I would use the recipe the ingredients we have in the house.
Okay.
I will try and make the most of it.
All right.
That's what I'll probably do.
Okay. That's cool.
Yeah. Hi, Larry.
Hi, Larry.
So what are you saying wow to? Wow to what, please? I need to know what you're saying wow to.
Maybe that you're gonna make different dishes every week.
Okay.
So you can ask him next week, or you can ask him during the week. Wednesday's the day. Yeah. So
actually, let's even make it more interesting. We didn't think about this. Let's make it more interesting. If you guys can someone just give me a recipe right now, and I'll make it and I'll post it, okay?
Not too difficult though.
Yeah. So just give me something. And I'll see which one I can make.
Okay, so any suggestions for dinner on Wednesday?
Please don't ask me to make amalang begiri. You know, just something simple.
So what should he make on Wednesday? What do you think he should make on Wednesday? Bangers and mash.
Oh, that's easy. I am
mash.
No.
You could do that though.
I'm not sure.
It's not difficult.
Okay. All right. So bangers and mash, I think that's a winner.
No. Faith. We know that you don't eat that.
Mushroom
with chicken risotto. You don't really like risotto. You don't really like
tiger prawns and pasta. I think
that's a bit easy.
Yeah. No, I think
chicken pot pie.
Okay. I tell you what though. Lasagna. If I can't pronounce it, I can't make it.
What do you lasagna? On YouTube, you're welcome to suggest any meals, suggested recipes. So this is our meal on Wednesday. What should we eat? What should Pastor Banks cook?
Okay.
On Wednesday.
So I have a few options, and I don't know which one I'm going to go with.
The easiest one.
yeah, but but at least I would make something.
Okay, cool.
You know, so in fact, someone said spark jollof.
Spark jollof. Okay.
That's an interesting one.
That's interesting.
Would I be able to find the menu online?
Pasta bake.
Yeah, I think that's easy. The spark jollof, can I find the menu online? Debbie. Okay, that's someone on YouTube there.
Or send me a recipe and I'll pass it on.
Yes. So please, in fact, that is it. Send for me your recipe and what's the it's
what is that?
Oh my god. That's me, my friend. You're not serious. You know,
what is that? I'm not sure I know what that is.
Exactly. So someone should send for me a recipe and I will make it. Okay. She will help me buy the ingredients.
No, why do I need to why do I need to buy the ingredients?
If you help me buy the ingredients, I will make it.
No. But spark jollof. Okay. We actually have all the ingredients.
Okay, so someone should send the recipe in and I will make it.
All right then.
Okay.
Is it spark jollof or it's whatever?
Whichever ingredient comes in first.
Oh, really? Whichever recipe comes in first, you'll make.
Yeah, whichever recipe.
Regardless of the difficulty.
Please just send something. And with their conditions, though, my kids would have to be able to eat it. So Fumi will know what they would eat, right?
Yeah, but that's a bit challenging, though.
Yeah. So send all your recipes. Send all the recipes.
The options.
The options in, right? And Fumi will decide based on.
I'll decide what he cooks.
Yeah, but it's not going to be what you like. It's what you know that the kids would eat. Okay.
All right.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, that's interesting. Right. So the game is on. I'm looking forward to that challenge. Okay. All right. So let's get into the session tonight. It's good to have you guys online. Today is what week now? Week
14 or 13.
Wow. That's been a few like 14 weeks now since we started.
14 weeks, yeah.
We only thought this was going to last. You know, in my mind, I thought lockdown would be for like 4 or 5 weeks or thereabout. You know, but this has continued and we're enjoying it. And I hope you guys are enjoying it too. So so today, a few things that we're looking at doing. No, Wumi, I'm not Wumi, if you can find the proper recipe for this this dish, I will make it.
Okay? Really?
Yeah, so go and find the proper recipe on YouTube and send it and it will get done. Okay. Anyway, so moving on to today's session on the sofa. I've been reading a book, The Power of Favor, right?
Interesting, really. When did you start reading the book?
Last week, actually. Well, Monday or Tuesday. It's an audio book.
Okay.
And I've listened to it. This is the second time I'm listening to it. But
you listened to it before?
In the same time.
Oh, okay. You listened to it
twice. I listened to it. As soon as I finished it, I went back to the beginning. Okay. And I'm going to go back to it again. Because I think it's attracting some unusual favor in my family. You know, I'm not promoting the book, so to speak, but I just wanted to share a few things that I kind of picked up in that book. I mean, that pretty much is everything that I already know. But the fact that somehow I've been super conscious of God's favor on my life. And by being conscious of that, I've attracted all kinds of favor in this week. You know, I was saying to Fumi, I think it was on Tuesday or Wednesday, I got a letter through the post.
One of those letters that you don't want to
so I got
one of those letters that he doesn't want to respond to.
Yeah.
That I would normally respond to.
Okay, so I got this letter in the post for a property that I'd managed last year. But I'd let go of the property, right? So they were still asking me to pay almost £500 on water bill. But I'd left the property almost a year now. There's no way I would have, been incurring that bill. So out of frustration and anger, I just called them to say, look, definitely this can be, possible. I mean, I've not had possession of property for about a year. So the lady went on. This is after waiting on the line for like all those calls that you call and then it rings for like almost 40 minutes.
They're trying to frustrate you.
Yeah, to just come off. But I don't get frustrated with things like that because I know that I need to sort this thing out. And so I stayed on, and then I got a lady on the phone. She was quite helpful. Then she checked the details. I said to her, look, I moved out of the property now for almost a year. That there's no way I hold this amount. So she then went on, looked at it, and she said, well, if indeed I've moved out, that rather than me holding them, in actual fact, they hold me, And for me, that was really exciting because I thought to myself, £500, I mean, where's that going to come? I didn't plan for that. So from getting a letter to pay a bill, I got notification that I was being owed some money. And I was thinking to myself that if I never got that letter, would I have known that I was being owed?
No.
And at times, and I think the point is, and this actually also feeds into the session that we're talking about tonight, this evening. But for me, it was almost like God needed that letter to come through as a reminder for me to get through to them and get my money, get what is due to me back.
Even though it didn't look like you were going to get some money.
On the surface of it, it didn't look like, I actually didn't know that. I didn't even know that I was owed any money. So that was number one favor that came my way on Tuesday. So I'm just waiting for that money to hit my account. I think I already know what I'm going to do with that money now. So that was one thing that came through. Just you think, well, okay, well that's enough. But then I went shopping. Food shopping. That was on
African food shopping.
African food shopping, yeah. My friend, we know where we meet ourselves at that African food shop, yeah. So I'd done my shopping, picked up everything, was on the queue to pay, and then somebody just paid for everything. I thought, wow, that's God's favor right there.
And that's not the first time, is it?
No, that wasn't the first time. Actually, in that same shop. I think I need to be going to that shop more. Somebody just picked up the whole bill, and that was definitely God's favor. So whilst I was still sort of, thinking and just rejoicing over those two events in the course of 1 week, right? And to some of you, it might not seem like a lot, but the fact that you were not even thinking of anything like that, you're just happy being alive, doing your own business, everything is going well, but then God decided to just, favor you. So yesterday morning, I think I came to Fumi and we're just having a chat. And she looked at her phone and she saw this text from someone.
No, it wasn't a text. No.
Okay.
So during the week, I can't remember when, maybe Tuesday or Wednesday, someone messaged me and said, send me your bank account details. And I was like, cool, that's all good. So I didn't really check anyway, but I think yesterday, I did get a message that said, I've transferred this amount of money into your account. And I looked at Mike and I was like, wow.
Yeah. Now to put it in context, right? And this is the big favor. To put it in context, this morning, because we're trying to figure it out, this money is kind of amount that our household income, our household expenditure, right? Including mortgage, all bills included, everything that we spend money on. This amount of money would cover our bills for about 3 months.
Yeah.
Imagine that kind of favor. You are not expecting that, but somebody just wired a lump sum into the account. I'm like, wow. So now you see why I'm going back reading the book over and over again. Indeed, it was a serious wow.
So thank you, God.
Yeah. And I think the point of it all is the fact that, to be honest, I mean, we're extremely, extremely grateful that God did that. But this is actually not even the first time that, some things like that have happened. But here, the point is this. A lot of times as Christians, we're not actually mindful of God's favor over our lives, really. Someone puts it this way that a lot of times, so if there are doors that have opened up to me because of the people I associate with. Mm-hmm. So I've had access to some other people because of my pastor, for example. I've had access to people because of my friends. So at times, all it takes is for someone to recognize in the spiritual realm that you have access to God, or God just sort of makes sure that somebody opens a door for you. But you need to be mindful of the fact that you carry that favor. But I know that in our lives, life in itself could have beaten us black and blue, that we're no longer conscious of such good things. When I said that, when I shared the testimony with someone this morning, it was like, Pastor Banks, you need to share this because people need to hear it. Actually, I gave him the figure. He was like, wow, and I'm still sort of, I'm amazed at God's faithfulness, because we weren't thinking about we're fine. It's not, we're not even in need. We're not in need. No. So the point is, you don't have to need something for God to just decide to just want to bless you. You don't have to be looking for a new job for another opportunity to open up. Your bank account doesn't have to be dry for somebody to decide to just want to give you something. Your car doesn't have to be old for someone to want to give you a new reg of it. It's just being open and being mindful that God could just decide to want to bless you. So I'm like, Lord, bring it on. I'm so conscious of God's favor that in my prayers this week now, it's been like, Lord, let your favor baptize my life in every way. Let men see your favor written all over me. Amen. In many different ways. So I just want you guys also to be mindful and conscious of that, favor. You're favored, in God. Just know that God is not the respecter of person, right? So if he can do it for us, he can do it for you. And someone said this. He said, with God, it's not about crying, oh, I'm in need, tearing up and all that. It's understanding the principles of scriptures and just aligning yourself with it. God is not moved by our need, he's moved by our knowledge of the principles of scriptures. So I just want to encourage you guys on that note to be mindful that you carry God's favor. You are favored of God. You are his favorite. He wants to do amazing things in your life in this week. So somebody listening now should expect some amazing favor this week. Amen. The last time I shared, well, actually, I think it was sometime last year that I shared about a testimony similar to this about how I got some money back. I can't remember the exact testimony again, but somebody that sat in the audience was like, I key into this testimony, and guess what? He actually had a similar testimony. Oh, wow. Yeah, he had a similar testimony. So be expectant because God is going to do amazing stuff.
Amen, Shade.
Yeah, God is going to do amazing stuff. Okay, so we're going to talk about the other bit of this conversation now. Okay. Sorry, it's not, who's Master's Divine? I'm not sure.
That's Divine.
Oh yeah, okay. So I think the next step to this my cooking challenge is that if I manage to carry it through, maybe we need to start having people come and taste the food. Yeah. Okay. So today I want to share what is it?
The opportunity of setback.
Yeah, the opportunity of setback. Now, I mean, it would be nice to know whether anybody sort of listening has had, things happen to them where they've been disappointed, discouraged, and it turns out to have been a blessing. Has anybody had any of such disappointments, so-called disappointments, that then turns out to have been, God actually working some things out for them? If you've had just sort of
it could be like a delay. Maybe you went for a job or something, you didn't get it, or a broken relationship or something that at the time you're really upset about or upset with God about, but then turning it around, you've seen the hand of God upon it.
Anybody? Okay. So
plenty.
Yeah, James, my friend says plenty. Yeah, it'd be nice to see whether definitely. Okay. Before we get into it, does anybody I think we should try and should we bring somebody in to just share? Who wants to, if you have one to share, just ask to be added to this call and to this live chat. So if you have one to share, just ask to be added on so I could add you on. Because I want to hear from you guys, your experiences. I mean, I have some key, for me, there are some defining disappointments. They are defining because I can, they are reference points that God used to change the course of my life. I'm going to share that with us, today. So, okay, Tom, okay, so please, do you want to just ask yourself ask to be added on so I could add you on? You said you do, so.
A few people said yes, but do they want to be added? Do
okay,
they want to go live?
Whoever wants to be added should just ask to be added.
Ask to go live.
Ask to go live, yeah. Before I get on with my own stories and anchor it in scripture. We've not forgotten you on YouTube. I think this is quite profound, particularly because in this season where a lot of things are happening and oftentimes contrary to what a lot of us have planned our year to look like. So is there anybody? Or should I just carry on? No sure.
Continue on.
Okay.
Maybe if they ask and then you see.
Yeah. So right now, I remember. Let me just actually anchor it in scriptures so that at least it's based on scriptures really. Now there's it.
Someone's added. No, sorry, no.
Okay. All right. So there's a scripture in Genesis chapter 50 that we all know. It is the story of actually from Genesis 48 thereabout to 50, we know the story of Joseph. And that story really, for me, it's a classic example of how someone had a dream, they had aspirations, they were looking to go in a particular direction with their life. God really showed up. And you'd have thought that it was going to happen like that. But then through a series of events, everything went the other way. Joseph had a dream that he was going to become a leader, and all his brothers and siblings, or his siblings and parents, were going to be bowing down to him. But then, rather than going up, everything went downhill. Yeah. He found himself in the pit. Found himself in prison a number of times. He found himself lied to, and betrayed, rejected in the backside, and so pretty much a lot of things went wrong. But then, what then happened is, of course, that was God's chosen path to get him into the promise, right? Yeah, okay. Let me see. Someone said, oh, right. Okay, sorry. Yeah, so someone wants to join this conversation. I'm going to invite Tom. We didn't plan this, so we've been trying to hear Tom's experience. Hey!
Hello! You have to ignore the appearance. I didn't think I was going to be on the video. I clicked what?
That's all right.
I'm sorry, everyone.
That's fine. It'd be good to hear, just to hear your story. So thanks. I already told people that you weren't expecting to join in. And this is the thing about Blue Sofa. It's spontaneous in that way. It's real. Try to keep it real. So please share. So unfortunately, that those on YouTube can't. They would hear you, but they can't see you. So that's all right. So yeah. So tell us.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I graduated second time round with my social work degree in 2014, and obviously I just had my eldest Metabel at that time, and obviously take a year out, do what you need to do, and then I started looking for social work roles, and I couldn't find any. A lot of rejection. I didn't even get shortlisted for an interview at all. So I was doing some agency work, and then come It was January 2017. So about 3 years after, I was in a supporting role, you know, trying to get my way up the ladder to get to the role I want to do. And I applied for the permanent role for the role I was doing as an agency staff.
Yeah.
And thinking I would get it. I mean, I'm already in the role. Why wouldn't I get it? And they said no. And I was like, oh, okay. That was a big shock. And then I think about a few weeks later, I found out we were pregnant with my second daughter. And I was like, oh my God, I haven't got a job. I'm pregnant. What am I going to do? And I was so disheartened because it had been such a long road so far trying to get that social work role. And it just looked impossible.
Yeah.
And I can't remember the dates, but we had the 24 hours place for pastors' years in ministry that year. And I sowed a seed and everything. And I was like, well, we'll do, you know, I believe God, I have faith. And I applied for the role in March of that 2017 social work role, my first time ever. And they shortlisted me for an interview. And I was like, oh, and I think that really scared me because I was like, oh my God, I didn't get the supporting role that I was already in.
Yeah.
What would make me think I'm going to get this social work role that I'm obviously qualified for, but it's just been a long road so far.
Yeah.
But, you know, I applied for it. I got shortlisted. They did panel interview. We did role play. And literally, I was, by God's grace, getting through each hurdle.
Yeah.
And God was just with me. And the way God did it, I think he placed me in the previous role to put specific people around me to uplift my spirit. I mean, I was telling my mom and my husband at that time that I've got a spiritual mother at work. You know, there was a Christian woman that I really got close to. She was, helping, encouraging me and everything. And even when I was applying for the roles, there were people who was helping me with like what to say. You know, there was someone praying with me. There was someone just kind of saying, you can do this, just kind of being there for me. And, looking back, I'm like, that's just God, because I wouldn't have got through that. I already was discouraged, although I was trying to, face it, but I was really discouraged because it's been such a long road. But God did it for me.
Wow. So did you feel disappointed at the start when things were not happening? I mean, how did you deal with that?
Oh God, yes. Oh God,
how did you deal with that?
I was feeling disappointment. How did I deal with that?
Mm-hmm.
Not very well initially. I think not very well. That you look at. I remember one time I was working in a residential home as a support worker. This I think 2 years after I'd graduated in a social work course, and we were doing a fundraising event one time in local authority, and I saw a person I had graduated with, and, oh, hi, how have you been doing? What are you doing? She's like, oh, yeah, I'm working in social work. And then, oh, what are you doing? I'm like, yeah, I'm fundraising. Nothing wrong with that. But, you get that, you're like, wow. And, those are the kind of disappointment that normally I wouldn't think I would just react to, but it kind of made me think, look at your attitude, what's going on? But that made me lean even closer to God, because I was like, look, God, obviously what I've been doing hasn't worked. And this dipping in and out that I've been doing hasn't worked. I'm going to do this properly now. Like, it's you and no one else. You're the only one who can help. And, there were other disappointments or challenges, I guess, even personally, like in my relationship with my husband, and, sometimes with relationship with friends, that I think it impacted. Yeah. But, during those times, you just have to lean on God, because it may seem like everything is going wrong, but you have to be, it's almost like you have to have a tunnel vision and just have blinkers on. That's it, to just ignore distractions, because you know where you're going, you know what your God can do. Yeah. But if you're not careful, outside external factors or external things can derail you sometimes. Yeah.
No, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, thank you for sharing.
We appreciate that.
Thank you.
And a lot of these things, I'm going to take you off now. But thanks for coming on.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye.
So a lot of the things that Tone shared are similar to some of the things that I'm going to sort of share here. One of my, like I said, some disappointments in my life were like defining moments.
Yeah.
So I remember, I'll take them almost chronologically. I remember, I think it was about 16, 17 years ago now. There was this particular job interview that I went for. And I actually thought, because I trained, my original background was in IT. When people say, oh, yeah, they studied psychology, but they're now in IT. For me, it was different because my first degree was computer science. My master's was business IT, business information system. So I was, through and through a business analyst. Yeah. So, and the time I was ready for the job market was the IT boom, pretty much. But I struggled quite a whole lot. I didn't get any real significant breakthroughs in that area. But there was one particular job that I went for. I think it was in Cambridge, if I remember correctly now. I'd, studied really hard for this interview, right? Prayer walked. I mean, those that know London a bit will know the distance between Stratford and Walthamstow and back. In the rain, prayer walked that distance, was like, I was
a minister at the time.
I'm not, well, I can't remember whether I was a minister in church, but I was definitely focused on God. So, I mean, God was my everything. He's still my everything. So, I'd done everything that I needed to do. I was prepared. I studied for the interview. I prayed. It was almost like I fasted. I left God no choice. So you can understand my frustration when I went for the interview and I didn't get the job.
They said no.
They said no. I paid my ticket all the way to Cambridge. I think it was a far place. And I came back, and it felt like that was the last opportunity I had. For some reason, it felt like that was just, I felt very positive about this particular interview. I didn't get the job. So it was very disappointing, very extremely, extremely, extremely disappointing. Honestly, even I still feel the pain, but a different kind of pain, because now when I look back upon my life now, it makes sense to me that God didn't answer that prayer. Because the thing is, if God had answered that prayer at the time, perhaps, and this is now me, because in life you have to think about, okay, well, if I take this route, this is the way it would have led, or that other route. Now, if I had taken that route in my life, I would have obviously gotten very, very comfortable with IT, even though I didn't enjoy it, but the money would have been very good. I would have been commanding a whole lot of money, whether as a contractor or whatever. Yeah. And I would have gotten extremely comfortable in a job, but I would have missed out my purpose and passion. Because everybody that knows me now know that, I'm in ministry, but I also then have another passion for development, property development. Not because it's a money-making venture, but because it's something that I'd always wanted to do since I was about 7. So I think I can't remember what happened. God just reminded me that, if I'd gotten that job, I would have been too comfortable to leave it to explore an unknown, right? And I'm like, wow, that is true, because I that would have been the case. What I would have ended up doing probably would have been just making money and giving some other people to invest for me in property, which is not where the passion is for me. The passion is actually in doing the work, going to my site and seeing the projects go up. I would never have been able to have that opportunity. So that was one. Then, obviously, I was still single at this time. But then, so while this was going on, I was also praying for a life partner, right?
For wifey.
For wifey, yeah. And at that time, I mean, there was a particular person that I thought, surely this is the Lord's anointed. And I was, sort of.
God said, yeah.
Yeah. I was very focused on this person for years of my life, for like 6-7 years, just focused on this one person, believing that, Lord, I believe this is the way you're leading me. But, each time we had the conversation, it was a rejection, outright rejection, pretty much. But interestingly, we're still friends. Even now, we're friends. But I had to deal with rejection over those years, thinking, Lord, what's going on here? You know, it knocked me back. Remember, my career was struggling at that time. Things were not really happening. Now, of course, after a while, I had to, you know, seek counsel. So Pastor Ella, I mean, I spoke with my pastor, and then we agreed that perhaps maybe that was not meant to be. Of course, very disappointing, as again you'd imagine. You know, we're talking about years now, like I said, 6-7 years, if not more. And you see, for me, because I'm a very focused person, it wasn't like, okay, I was trying to get to know this person and I was looking elsewhere. I was just tunnel vision in that way. So at the end of that journey, I felt like I lost a lot of my lot of years, you know. So I was angry, I was upset with God, you know. But then Fumi wasn't even in the picture then. She wasn't even around, she was not in the church. And of course, fast forward, you know, a few years beyond that, and then I met my wife now, and God started to help me understand that, you know, if I'd answered that your prayer, then you would have missed out the real deal that I have for you. Woo-hoo! Yeah, you would have missed out the real deal. And honestly speaking, because I know this person, we're still friends, it would have been a very challenging relationship, because although we're friends, there were issues, there were, you know, like every friendship, it's not every friend that you can marry. And when I look back upon that disappointment and I see how God didn't answer that, because it kept me almost in what we call holding pattern, whilst waiting for the real deal to come. Bam. True. You know? So here is the point, matters. It could be anything. You know, you've been crying to God, believing God for something, but then it's not coming through. You know, so as I thought about this, I began to look at scripture to understand, Lord, is there a pattern to this? Is there a way that one could go through these challenges? And so I weathered this season. The thing is, even in the prison, Bible, Joseph, because God was with him.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I think it's just a misception, but that's fine. So, because it doesn't mean. So I think the number one point is to know God has my interest at heart. I know it's very difficult to believe that. That's the truth. But God is sovereign. I mean, from my own experience, see, life makes a lot of sense in reverse. You've gone ahead now, you look back and it makes more sense. And you'll be like, if only I knew whilst going through this, that this is what's going to happen, then maybe I should have been more relaxed about it. You know, but oftentimes, you know, we're anxious because, okay, you know, the job is not coming through. You sent 500 applications, no graduate roles are coming, you know. And I heard a preacher say this, that, I mean, it was Joel Austin of Lakewood Church in America that was saying that their church is in one of the busiest highways in America. Actually, they use the building or the former Houston Rockets Stadium, the Compaq Center. Now, at the time that or prior to getting the building, they were looking to get 2 other buildings, right, for their church to use. And they had started the process, but then the vendors sold it off under their feet, because they had begun the project, but then the vendors maybe went for more money. So of course, in that time, the church would have been really disappointed on all that. But then what happened? This Houston Rockets arena became available, and they were notified of it. And of course, God made it possible for them to own it. But imagine if they had bought one of those other buildings, they would not have been able to buy the Compaq Center when it became available. So in the midst of that situation, it looked like God had deserted them. It looked like God, we're a church, I'm a Christian, but Lord, everybody's progressing, advancing in their careers. But I'm praying, I'm doing everything, I'm giving, but nothing seems to be happening. Lord, why me? And literally, those were some of my thoughts, But I think it's important to know and really be settled or assured of the fact that God has not forgotten you.
It says he will never leave us or forsake
us. That's what it says. It says he will never leave you nor forsake you. That's the first thing. The second thing is, do not allow offense to take root. Because Joseph could have been offended with his brothers, obviously, because, imagine your brothers, you could hear them trading you off. They were selling him off, and you could hear the conversations between his brothers and the slave traders. They were bargaining for him. So he could easily have been offended. You had work, somebody saying, you are hearing gossip about your boss or somebody that just came in after you has been elevated past you or beyond you, and you could see all that going on. Easily one could get offended. But for as long as God remains our focus, you see, promotion doesn't come from man. It's actually God that promotes. It is God. If God wants to move you to that next level, there's no man that can stop it. It's whether God is just not ready or whether you are not ready. Because at times, God is ready for us, but in our own attitude, we are not ready. God wants to still do some work in us. That was what happened to Joseph. Joseph was still this, cocky young boy, proud in his attitude, but God needed him to have, to strip him of all that pride, so that when he got to the palace, he could deal with humility. So at times it's just God looking at all that. So you don't want to allow offense to set in, And then also in the midst of it, you should be asking yourself, Lord, what's the lesson in all this? I can look back now, go through it and see that, Lord, when I thought I was pursuing a job, I was looking for a job, which is short term, but you were trying to give me a purpose. You were trying to define my purpose, but is that Esau principle, whereby you're looking for a meal, but God is trying to teach you how to do something that would define your life and mark your destiny for good. So when you're going through your situation, you want to find, because there would always be one lesson that God is trying to teach in the midst of one's situation. So what lesson is that? Because when you learn that lesson, two things happen. You don't go through that cycle again, but then you can also then teach other people so that they can benefit from your life's lesson, but also can be encouraged, that they're not the only ones going through difficulty. That's true. Okay. That's true. So there are lessons to be learned there. So definitely the big picture, as Shadi said there. So I determine whatever I'm going through, that whatever lesson I need to learn here, I will learn it. So when I experience setback, it's not really a setback until or it's not a setback unless I've not learned anything. I don't know if that makes sense. Sorry, it's only a setback if I've not learned anything, perhaps in that way, because otherwise it's really a setup for bigger opportunities
for the next level.
Because I will learn some certain lessons here that I can then take to my next level. So that's number 3, is to ensure that you learn the lesson. Number 4, the thing that we saw about Joseph is the fact that he remained positive through it all. I mean, do you remember when you were pregnant with Bethel, right? And we had we had planned to get our son into a particular school.
So like for those that have children or have listened to people that have children and parenting and everything, you think about the school. So you're planning and you're thinking about what schools you want your children to go to. And so at the time I was working in Romford and we lived in Stratford.
Yeah.
And then we're thinking about, okay, where could we live? We could live many places, So an area in Hornchurch was suggested to us. And there was a school that was really good in Hornchurch. So we thought, okay, we'll go there. So we did our planning. So this is 2.5 years before we had to apply for schools. We moved to Hornchurch and we were renting because we were new to the area and so on. So I was now 7 months pregnant. It was the renewal for the rent was in December.
Yeah. Because the thing is, we left our property that we owned. We're quite strategic in that we left the property that we owned and we went to rent. In fact, what I did was I found the best school around the area and then used the postcode of that school to find the property to rent so that we could actually get, and we wanted to genuinely rent the place, not just for 6 months arrangement. We were there years before.
Yeah.
So we let out our own property and we went to rent elsewhere, for a number of, so we were right across the road from the school. So for sure, we would have been number one on the list guaranteed to get into that school. No matter how you looked at it, we were right in front of the door of the gate. So then, continue.
So we're just about to apply, and then the landlord comes around just to change the smoke alarm, but didn't say anything anyway. So we saw that I was pregnant. Then we got a letter in the post from the estate agent giving us notice to leave, and we're like, oh my gosh, wait, you want us to leave? Like, this is like October. We apply. The deadline for applying for schools is like January, so we're like weeks away from applying for schools. So we're like, oh my gosh, this is, our plans. We planned, we were ready to apply. It was kind of a given for us kind of thing. And then we got that. And at this time as well, I'd also got a new job, which was going to be in Basildon. So anyway, so we were like, what are we going to do?
Yeah.
So we were like, okay, maybe the landlord can do something, so that we can just extend it for the year. And the landlord wasn't having, he gave us some story.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we weren't quite sure how.
We later found out that the story wasn't real.
The story wasn't real, basically. Yeah.
So it moved us out. We had 7 months.
So 7 months pregnant. They say that moving house is one of the most stressful things that you can do. Yeah.
And I
was pregnant. Yeah. And we had to, if we're moving house, then we have to look for a school. And for those that have listened to Blue so far previously, I like my research. Yeah. So now I have only a few weeks to research school, research a house that's near to the school that will enable us to get into the school, move house, visit the school, and then have the baby and then be ready to apply.
Yeah.
So it was really quite a busy time, stressful time. Period.
So it was very disappointing for us, of course, for those reasons. But obviously, there was nothing we could do about it. I mean, we knew that God was guiding our steps. We prayed about it, and then of course we found the school where around the area where we now live, and then we moved there. Now when we look back upon it, we were speaking about this earlier on. When we look back upon that situation or that season of our lives, we're thankful to God that the landlord moved us out. You know what the landlord did? He moved us out just before we could register to get our son into the school, so that they could move his own family member in, so that they could get their own child or children into the school. That's what he did, So we had paid, we had spent a few years there, ready to go, but then he just came in last minute to get his child or his family into that school. Anyway, it was such a disappointment for us, but then the school that our son is now settled in, for us is actually way better than that other school. So we were settling for something that we thought was good, but God has something better for us.
Yeah.
We could have been better, we could have been bitter, we could have been upset about it, but for sure, something that God taught us in that experience, the Bible says that, a man plans his ways, but God directs his steps. So you have your own plans, but God has a better plan for you.
Yeah.
So when you're thinking about, yes, pray, plan, but know that God has a plan. God has a plan, and trust me, your own plan can never be better than God's plan. So if we can take some comfort, I'm not saying we're just messing about doing anything, you're a single person, you're just messing about all over the place. you're keeping yourself, you stay faithful to God, God has a plan for you, and his plans will come through if you remain faithful to his promises. I mean, God would always stay faithful to his promises. So the other thing that we learned about the life of Joseph is that did I already say that he remained positive, right? Yeah. So Joseph also, even in the midst of his own disappointment, created opportunities for others. Because he was disappointed, yet he was able to interpret the dream of the other people. So it wasn't in his purpose, but it was helping other people pursue their own purpose. But for a lot of us, it's if it's not happening for me, why should it happen for others? I remember many years ago when people, my friends, would call me because they knew I was really, really on fire as a Christian minister or whatever. They'll call me to say, Banks, Pastor, or Banks, whatever, come, I just bought a new house. Come and bless it for me. Or I just bought a new car. They'll bring it. And I didn't have a car, I didn't have a house. I was sharing a room somewhere, But it takes a lot to be able to bless other people, even when you are believing God for the things that they have. It takes a lot to, as a married woman, to help another married woman take care of the child when you are believing God for children. So it's knowing that whilst you're going through a season, is actually a test of your heart to be able to step back out of your situation and help other people get along in their lives. And God rewards that. It takes you knowing that, my business might not be thriving as I want it to, but then you get an opportunity, or you get some information that could help a friend or somebody else, and you're able to pass it on, and you're seeing them progress in their business. But God is watching how you respond to that, and that's exactly what happened to David. I said to Joseph, rather, So it's being able to create opportunities for people. I mean, think about it. Even at work,
being a blessing to others.
Yeah, you've been stuck in a particular role, trying to move along for so long, nothing is happening. But then the person sitting by you comes to you and says, another job opened up, help me with my CV and all that. And that job, you are hiring that job. What do you do? How do you react to that? So it's knowing that promotion doesn't come from any man, it comes from God. And then lastly, the thing about that we can learn from the life of Joseph, even in the midst of all that disappointment, so to speak, is that he was preparing himself. And how do I know that? At the start of the story that we learned of Joseph, he had dreams, but he didn't have the gift to be able to properly interpret those dreams. But by the time he was ready to go into the palace, he had developed the skill to interpret dreams. So for me, I mean, using the example of the relationship, I remember over that period that I was just waiting, I was reading a lot of books. I was developing myself, I was actually counseling married people. I was counseling people that were in relationships, but I was single. So of course, people look at my wife and they're like, oh yeah, you guys are, your marriage, seems to be working. But that's because a lot of preparation went into it prior to actually even getting to meet each other in the first place. So the season of disappointment or setback, so to speak, is a season of preparation. God has something bigger and better, not bitter, bigger and better for you if you can just, number one, stay positive, believe that God has a bigger plan. Number three, do not harbor any sort of bitterness or disappointment. Pretty much, create opportunities for others and continue to develop yourself. You will see that in the midst of all of that, God will come through, and it will be like that. All it takes is just one break, because you would always be one step away from the next opportunity. So I hope that has blessed somebody tonight. And regardless of what you're going through, just stay positive and believe God for the best. Any thoughts or questions on that just before our time runs out. I think we have just about a minute or two to go. Hi, Shola. Hey, Vinkwe. Yeah.
Hello.
Emmanuel, yeah, you said you're both on spot. Yeah, both spot on. Yeah, thank you for that. Okay. I think we've more or less come to the end of the session.
Yep.
Yeah, Buki. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, cool. All right, then. Thank you for joining us.
See you again next week. Remember,
spending your time with us, spending your evening with us.
Send the
recipe.
The recipe.
So, what is Pastor Banks going to cook this Wednesday?
Yep. Let's see. Okay.
Yeah.
So, stay blessed. God bless you.
All right. Take care. Bye bye.
Yeah. Bye bye.